The Springboks have only lost 2 test matches at Kings Park since it was inaugurated in 1962, once to the All Blacks in 96 and of course to the Lions in 97. If Italy become the 3rd today, it would be one of the greatest sporting upsets of all time. Improving on last week's performance might be a more realistic target. Well, let's head over now to Kings Park in Durban, and after the anthems, your commentators will be Guy Kebbell and Gavin Cowley.
Passionate singing there from the Italians.
Blood-boiling stuff, that.
The formalities then completed. They're the 2 captains for today. Corne Cricker on the left, Massimo Giovanelli on the right. And both of them very, very focused for this match as the balloons are let off. And plenty of festivity here at Kings Park, in keeping with the preparations for an international rugby match.
Well, Gavin, you just got to look at those balloons, the Vodacom balloons, give them a bit of a mention. And also the fact that they're swirling. There's the weather conditions here fairly blustery. You can have a look. There's a bit of cloud in the air. I don't think we're going to see any rain, but certainly this ground does have the ability to catch the wind, and it tends to swirl in certain sectors of the field. And that might affect a ball that is travelling a lot this evening through the air.
Well, words from a man who's, of course, played a lot of rugby down here for the Natal province. That's the referee for today's match. Mr. Andy Cole, 38-year-old dentist from Australia. And Khafi de Toy will start this match in the fly half position. There's a lot of belief that he might finish it in the full back position, but that remains to be seen what Nick Mallett does.
Stay on green!
It was small Francisco Mazzariol that went in, kept the position that was required. And then the big punt downfield. Not too sure that there was good communication there between Stefan Tablanche in the left of your picture and Percy Montgomery.
Yeah, I think that was a little bit of a problem there. Obviously, first 30 seconds of the game, anything can go on. There's a lot of heat here. Italy don't want to stand back. Springboks have got new caps. They want to stand on Italy, etc. We're going to see a good 5 minutes of intense sparring.
Rugby is a funny game, but there's a great expectation from South Africa's point of view.
Hey!
Well, that's
Get out of it!
solid take there, and they'll be happy with that first line out.
Straight in under.
The Springboks will anyway.
Number 1, yes.
Well, Guy, there's been a lot of talk as well about South Africa not being too concerned about the scoreline, but rather that the way that they play. Now, this could have been a kick at goal, certainly from Khafi du Toit's point of view, but gee, he's just plonked it out right next to the corner flag. How's that for confidence?
Well, you notice he hardly put any power into it. It was just pure timing and realized direction as opposed to distance in that case is what it was all about. And you don't get closer than that.
Leaving on the ground first.
Narka Drotsky will be the man entrusted with the throw-in. It's a vital one for him. He's got Albert van der Berg, but it goes to the back to Andre Vos. Now the drive coming from the Springboks. They're looking for a kink in that armour. The kink comes. The armour is pierced, and that's a try. The man that started the throw-in, Narka Drotsky, is the man that finishes it.
Well, it's almost too simple if you look at it, really. Good penalty kick from Khafi du Toit, great line out. The drive, they're not going anywhere, but getting the ball out timeously, Narka Drotsky finding the way. The Italians seem to be concentrating too much on that pack and not looking at the fringes. So basically, nice try for Narka Drotsky, but it looked all too simple. And that might really be the way this game goes this evening. You're talking about the Springboks not worrying too much about the scoreline, but how they get to that score. I don't think they were too happy with their performance in the first half last week, and this is a much better start. A lot more methodical, things coming together, but not much has happened. It's really been forwards all the way.
Very difficult kick this for Khafi du Toit, but gee whiz, the way he started this match, really with terrific confidence.
Well, have a look at that. Narka Drotsky there, utilizing, I think it was Rassi Rasmus, or Corne Krige, in fact.
Mazarial's kick going in, and Albert van der Berg was unable to take.
Move over, please. Move over. Move over. Thank you.
Little Francisco Mazarial with that kickoff. He really has proved to be quite a capable replacement for Dominguez. Slippery customer, but he just hasn't got quality possession from his forwards. That's been their big problem.
Leave it. Leave it. Number 1. Come on. Yeah. Second time.
Well, I think there's number 1 going in,
Come down to the ground.
scooping the legs out, and that's not necessarily the best way to come down for Selborne Boom, but noticing good skill there as well, not losing the ball as his legs were taken out from underneath him.
That is an absolute monstrous punt from Khafi du Toit. Well, we were talking about it last night with former Springbok Dick Muir, and really we believe that this fellow can really go places in world rugby.
Yeah, I wouldn't disagree with that at all. You've got to realize as well that he's kicking at sea level, so that ball doesn't travel as far as it does on our high felt, and that certainly is a massive punt.
Drotsky carries on the pinpoint, throwing in at the lineouts. But then the South Africa making a little bit of a hash of that. The Italians have taken it away. Bergamasco playing in an unfamiliar position for him. Ball certainly bouncing a little bit on this field, which is pretty hard. This is good work from du Toit, taking it back in. And this is really the areas where South Africa want to control. They want to make sure that they have the ball retention and that they can take it through the phases. Javier Petili at fullback was standing a little bit flat on that occasion. It was almost just a little pop kick, wasn't it, from du Toit, but they're going to come all the way back to the halfway line.
Well, that probably gets recorded as a blemish, and He's had a fantastic start to the game, but that goes against him. That wind there coming off, it's blowing from a southerly direction. Cold front coming to this area. You can hardly believe that Durban has a thing called a cold front. A big scrum from the Springboks.
Well, another area that they certainly want to make sure that there's some level of domination.
Standing up.
There's a belief in South African rugby circles that everything starts with the scrummage, and in any match there's a need for solidity there. I'm sure that Guy Kibble will bear that out.
Well, I think it's been proven time and time again that if you're struggling in the set pieces, and certainly in the scrums, it gives the side that has the upper hand the advantage throughout. And I reckon 9 times out of 10, the side that has the advantage, providing you're capable in other departments, you're generally going to walk away with the victory.
7 points to 0 then. Just 6 minutes gone in this match. Drotsky with his third throw in into the line out. Good work there from Selborne Boom, man who made his debut last week, now Van Hesselen. As usual, Russie Erasmus was the man standing off. There was no way through for him. Du Toit, the little chip into space. That's a good kick from him. Will the bounce be favourable? Petili goes up. That's a huge tackle from Robbie Fleck.
Was it Robbie Fleck or no, it was Robbie Fleck. It was 13. I just saw Japie Mulder standing up there as well. And spectacular stuff. There might have been cause for concern on late tackle there, but look at this, Robbie Fleck lining him up and then roasting him forward, as you would say. And he had grounded, so there's nothing wrong with that. Just a little deflating for that man, Pertile. And he's still down on the ground, so let's hope that isn't too serious.
Well, good hunting in pairs, because Japie Mulder was right up there with his centre mate, Robbie Fleck.
Robbie Fleck, the man that they say never combs his hair.
So try on debut then for Robbie Fleck last week. Japie Mulder is playing his 27th test match today. He's a big man at 100 kilograms. So really beefy centre partnership. A little bit of concern then as the Italians, that's Javier Petili, gets back on his feet. Really was, as you used the word, roasted there, Guy, but it was a flying tackle that from Robbie Fleck.
Well, difficult for Petile, really.
South Africa get the free kick, and the Italians are asked to retreat behind their goal line.
Scrum.
Well, that's a good choice, one feels as well, just to ensure that domination. We saw a good scrum from South Africa a few minutes ago. They've got another chance. You just have a look at the pack weights as well. You can see that there's not a hell of a lot in that, but nothing in that. Held up at the back by Foss. That's a good scrum from South Africa, but then they lost control, but they have the penalty.
Leave it.
Oh, a couple more of those might be a penalty try.
A take from Van Hesselen. Has he got over? The referee has credited Dave Van Hesselen with a try. That's a great moment for the little scrum half.
Well, he's enjoying it. I'm sure a couple of other people at home are enjoying it. Well done. Certainly taken on everybody by himself. I always find it's quite a lot easier for guys that are quite close to the ground to get down there, and he does it. Got through lock there, Christopher Leto.
Well, it's been a real rise for this man. Playing for Griqualand West and then just moved through the ranks so quickly, but he certainly does deserve it. So the confidence that we've seen from Japie du Toit has now permeated down into his halfback partner as well.
Oh, Gavin, certainly the first 10 minutes of this half in comparison to last week's performance. Here's Dave van Huslen. Nice try, but just getting back to the first 10 minutes as compared to the first 10 minutes last week, chalk and cheese.
Yeah, much better start for South Africa. Picked up by Erasmus.
It's a ruck. Leave your hands out of it. It's a ruck.
Italians guilty of putting their hands into the ruck. And we heard from Gary Teichmann a little bit earlier on as well that there might well be some spoiling tactics from the Italians. Who can blame them if they're not going to be getting much possession? They've got to try and deny the opposition the platform to run at them.
And then from the Springboks side is how they handle the spoiling tactics, which makes them so much more better side. And I think they're doing that quite well at the moment.
It's been a great start for Drotsky, and on that occasion Albert van Berg. Now, beautiful run this from Robbie Fleck. He really is explosive. He's strong on his feet. Controlled possession is what South Africa want. But then there's a transgression.
On the tackle. Number
It's
3.
against Willie Meyer.
Hold your feet. Number 3, straight in on the tackle.
Well, Willie May is a bit upset with himself, but it's a little difficult one when your teammate is going down the ground. Here's Robbie Fleck. Look at this. He's explosive. Nicely off the feet there. Going to ground now. And there's Willie Meyer in there. He's not really, he did go onto his knees, but he is standing on his feet. But the referee called him quite early.
Erasmus out of the line-out into the fly-half position, and that's a defensive tactic, of course. He's a strong tackler, as Andre Vos goes in as well and does well, but the Italians still have it. Mazariol looking for space, not finding anything except for Montgomery. First touch for Stefan de Blanche. Look at the pace of Stefan de Blanche. The offload, unfortunately, couldn't be properly picked up, and Erasmus is really annoyed with himself.
Well, I think that pass went as quickly as Stefan de Blanche did. He sent a bomb back. Look at this, really fantastic stuff. Pace all the way, and then that, well, it wasn't really that bad a pass. I think Rassie Erasmus would be a little upset with himself.
So it's belonging, this test match, certainly to South Africa in terms of territory and possession, and I think that Nick Mallett's going to be pleased with the quality of play, barring one or two little transgressions.
I think the quite impressive point to mention at this moment in time for the Springboks is the pace that they're doing everything at. We haven't really seen anybody sort of umming and ahhing. As soon as that ball's in hand, something is happening. Right from number 1 to number 15.
So replacement then coming on in the form of Marco Baroni, who's played some rugby in the wing position on this tour, but also is a man who's played in the fullback position. So on for Javier Petillo, who really took that crunching tackle from Robbie Fleck.
Holding on, there's a man on his feet.
Well, Gavin, you really got to say that it's almost embarrassing to see a side at test level getting milked like the Italians are up front there, and they've got a lot of work to do if they're going to go into the Five Nations next year and be competitive. Although they have been competitive this year when they have played the Five Nations sides. I just feel at the moment that they way out of their depth.
Well, Giovanelli mentioned that there was some concern, obviously, with Troncon and Dominguez not in the side, but of course they're not forwards. And the concern is more particularly at forward. That's the Springbok bench. That's the reserve replacement hooker, Charles Marais. Had a very good Super 12 campaign with the Stormers. Van Hesselen waiting for the possession. It was really just a little bit messy at that ruck.
Tackle, he rolled off the back. It's just a tackle.
Oh, Robbie Kempson, Vilima and Nakadrotsky will certainly be enjoying this outing at this moment in time. Relish the thought of another punishing scrum.
Wait for the call.
Dekali and Fraperzi are the two men in the front row, along with Moscadi, the hooker. Now Vos. Very difficult situation that for Van Hesselen, but the protection eventually comes. De Toy onto Yapi Mulder, the battering ram in the midfield.
It's a tackle.
Well, it's not often that you see Yapi Mulder playing what we call inside centre. And be interesting to see how he pans out the rest of the game. Dave van Hustlen, Gaffie de Toy into Yapi Mulder, taking the punishment there.
No. Back you go. Wait for the call.
So another free kick then for South Africa. Van Hesselen quickly through the hands onto Corné Krige on his debut. Foss through the hands to Stefan de Blanche, is going to get in.
Superb stuff there from Stefan de Blanche. Bit of skill there to recover that ball. But nice work, Corné Krige and Andre Foss. And Andre Foss with a vision to pop that ball. Let's have a look. Nice Narkodrotsky. Nice to see Narkodrotsky basking.
Well, there was a little bit of work for Stefan de Blanche to do, but the Italians were guilty of not tackling the inside men, and that just really opened up all the space. There was the pop pass, well taken by de Blanche, and he had enough power to get over. 3 tries then to South Africa. 2 of them have been converted. Du Toit has a chance to convert the 3rd one right now.
Well, Gavin, I can't remember the Italians even getting close to the Springboks 22. And really, I think for rugby's sake, I hope that changes a little bit.
So this really isn't the right side for Kgafi du Toit, or not his most comfortable side. Just 2 or 3 steps in. He struck it well again as du Toit.
Well, when things are going that right for you, how could anything possibly go wrong? And this is nice for the captain, Andre Foss, in support. I think Andre Foss probably slicked the vint there, as you'd say, with that little pass, thinking that Stefan de Blanche might not take it, but he's comfortable.
This time Mazariol goes a little bit deeper to Krige again, who started that last move. Big kick downfield to Bergamasco, and well, the bounce is a little unkind to him. Quick throw-in by the Italians, and that's a poor reply that from Marco Baroni.
Well, it's a totally uneducated reply, because what was the point? All that they've done is they've tossed the ball away now, and they've really gained no yardage whatsoever. If anything, this kick should have gone straight back into the Springbok 22 with Italian pressure coming.
That's one thing the Italians do need to do, is get into the Springbok half of the field, but they're not getting any possession to allow them to do that. The drive now from Corné Krige. Van Hesselen. This is Kgafi du Toit. He's bottled up by a couple of Italians. And Van Hesselen gets away. This is going to be a second drive for the little scrum half.
Well, Dave van Hesselen can write his name in bold at Kings Park. That's simply brilliant. Simply brilliant. The way he took his time. He didn't really take his time, but summed up the situation, realized there was space. Have a look at this. There, Slick shrugs with the tackle, and then sees that try line. Beautiful to see.
Well, this is a stunning effort from the little scrum half, but again the Italians are guilty of not tackling around the fringes. That's got to be a more secure area for them. But Dave van Hesselen, 2 tries within the first 18 minutes.
Now, could you ever ask for a better debut?
Well, Brayton Paulser last week got 3 tries. Van Hesselen has 2 already. And Kgafi du Toit has 4 conversions.
This is Dave van Husselen's second cap, because he did take the field last week, but first time starting out in the number 9 jersey. And what a way to start. Really, that is spectacular stuff. It doesn't matter who you're playing against.
Mazariol gets his kick a little bit closer to perfection. But South Africa really enjoying their little run around. That was Rassie Erasmus not taken in the tackle. And South Africa just keeping the ball in hand, and then the chip kicks when the necessity arises.
Well, you've got to talk about Stefan de Blanche, who I think has had a superb outing thus far. He was on the right wing with Brayton Paulser on his right, and that's a wing looking for work. Maybe Kgafi du Toit, a little bit of a late charge there. We don't pick up that that man Stefan de Blanche. But getting through a lot of work. And the star of last week, Brayton Pulse, has been rather quiet. The ball just hasn't come his way.
Well, he hasn't touched it yet, but no doubt his chance will come as well.
Numbers.
Springboks were penalised in that line-out. Matsi now. Stoica through the hands quickly to Martin. That's good handling that by the Italians. And then Montgomery holding off Rosselli. Oh, it's a pity that Rosselli was unable to see the man who was trying to get around on his outside.
Good covering from Percy Montgomery. Should more, maybe he tackled the ball more than anything else, but look at that cover.
Well, we've seen on the few occasions on this tour when the Italians have got the ball in a favourable position that they really have been sleight of hand. But look at that. 19 minutes gone and already it's up to 28-0. Good work from Van der Berg in that line-out. Again, Erasmus uses the ploy, the man to drive off. Van Heslen. Robbie Kempson finding himself in the unfamiliar position of scrum half, does a really good job with getting that ball out. Baroni. And that's a better effort, that, from Marco Baroni.
Well, it's all defence for Italy. That's really a defensive kick, if anything. We haven't seen the Italians able to attack once. They haven't had any decent possession. The last time we saw them, it was maybe off Springbok mistake. And this isn't an uphill battle. This is it's just a vertical battle. You can't get worse.
Well, they've got to try and get themselves down into Springbok territory and try and remain there for some length of time. South African lineouts have gone extremely well. I'm sure that they're happy with the scrummages as well. It's those rucks and mauls that they just want to make sure that they're very secure. Du Toit. Marginally held up. He's a big, strong man, is Du Toit. He's over 100 kilograms at fly half.
Forward.
Yes, good mix of play from him. Power play, good distribution, and interesting kicks. We've only seen that one marginal slip up that happened in the first 5 minutes, but otherwise perfect display.
Quick take from little Matsi at scrum half for Italy. It's the first reasonable ball that they've got, and they'll want to retain possession if they can. Support play coming, then Matsi to Mazariol. This is Luca Martin.
Offside. Waiting.
Oh, one wonders just what the Italians are going to do in these sort of situations if and when they arise. They've got one now. Do they kick it goal, or do they try and bridge the Springbok line? We know just how South Africa have defended their goal line since the World Cup in '95. It's been a priority number one. They don't give away tries that easily.
Yeah, I think the Springboks also realizing, you notice how they were fanning out. It's no problem to them. They see how Italy are going to be playing. Italians might want to, if they're going to get anywhere close, is when the Springboks are fanning out, is to just drive on straight, as it were.
Well, they need a good ball from this line out, and then they need a unified effort from their pack of forwards. And that is certainly a good start for them. And then popping out on the Springbok side.
Number one, you're offside. Leave him.
Penalty was against Robbie Kempson, the last man up.
Wait for it. Back to go. Offside.
So question time then for Giovanelli. Can they take on the might of the Springbok pack, or will they kick it out on the corner flag?
Well, I think they're looking for maximum points, Gavin, and that is admirable. 3 points not going to make much difference to the scoreline. And that's positive play, and certainly Gianpiero Matsi, the scrum half, has been quite nuggety and really trying to take the game by himself.
So again, the Italians have a good line out. They want the finishing touches. Can they find it? First the drive comes. There is a retreat from the Springboks. They've got it again. and then they've lost it forward as Matsi tried to pick up that pass. So that's good defensive work there by the Springboks.
Yeah, good defense all round, controlling that. The ball's coming out now for Italy. Matsi waiting, and then it looked like it was Saviozzi that just dropped the ball forward, and I think that's opportunity lost. Lost big time.
It's gone 90, gone 90, 90.
Andy Cole says we'll have to scrum again.
Well, one thing's for certain is the Springbok pack's not going to go back, and it's their put in. So you'd say this is pretty secure ball for the Springboks, and that it is.
Van Hestlen just picks up Khafi du Toit, who's directly behind him. It's good that he's also being tested under pressure. That's not a great kick from him. Baroni. Well, there was a referee thinks about calling for a knock-on, and then decides to give a penalty. We'll wait to see what he has to say.
Well, he's giving the penalty because of a late charge on Khafi du Toit.
Taken out after he kicked it. High tackle and late. All right, after the kick. He didn't get a number. Late.
Well, we could give that number to him. It was little Gianpiero Mazzi at scrum half who really just slung out an arm. He could have avoided holding on to Khafi du Toit. And in the process, they've conceded 50 metres.
Yeah, Gianpiero Mazzi, or Captain Hook if you like. And that's not cricket. And Khafi du Toit just almost wanting to run back and do what nobody else wants him to do.
It was good play as well by the touch judge Dave McHugh, picking that up and communicating with Andy Cole. Gianpiero De Carli is the man penalised. And the big question as well, Guy One feels, is that the Springboks will want to consider just how best they mix this up as well. And a lot of that will have to do with Andre Vos and Dave van Hestlen and Khafi du Toit to vary the play. When you're getting so much possession, you don't want to become stereotyped.
Yeah, well, that's almost becoming difficult to answer, Gavin, because they're not really putting any foot wrong. They're going for touch now, it looks like. I don't think they're going to have any kicks at post, and they probably don't need to. But maybe to vary it, instead of going for a touch finder now, maybe keep the ball in hand and mix it up around the forwards. Who knows? Let's see what happens in the second half. They've still got 13 minutes in this half left, with full 40 in the next. So
15 penalties and free kicks in the match already in 28 minutes. But such has been the pressure that's come from the Springboks. 28 points to 0 they lead. 4 converted tries, 2 belonging to Dave van Hestlen at scrum half. Drotsky now, closer to the line. That's great possession for the Springboks. And then a wild pass from du Toit. Back foot, Brayton Paulson. I think that's his first touch. He's electrifying, and then Andre Vos unable to hold on. Just a couple of errors creeping into the game. There was great possession from the line out, and then a terrible mix-up.
Yeah, maybe I spoke too soon, because a couple of errors crept in there. Brayton Paulson now with possibly his first real handle of the ball, and he is electrifying, isn't he? That a big mistake from Andre Vos. I'm sure he'd hate himself for that. And
just watch this, how well this was read by Properzi, the tight head prop, because he read the switch very, very early. In fact, if Brayton Paulson had kept going, he probably would have got around him.
Yeah, Properzi just lent that big shoulder of his into Andre Vos. And in all games, you tend to find sides are electrifying for maybe 20-25 minutes, and then they go through maybe a 10-minute lull. This might be the time for the Springboks to go through that.
That's great work that from Christian Stoiker, the Romanian-born centre, who's so highly rated. And really been disappointing tour for him, because he loves running off good possession, good second phase possession.
Roll away.
Well, now ideal opportunity for the Italians to punt for touch and gain some valuable ground. Mazzariol
making 100% sure of that.
Well, he almost kicked it onto the second tier. That's Willie Meyer. And De Carli going in. De Carli going to ground. And Willie Meyer's lying offside, trying to make an effort to come away. Not really.
Matsi straight through the hands of Mazariol. The Springboks have been quite ruthless in the tackle, although they haven't been called upon to make too many tackles in this match. And the Italians still showing a lot of pluck.
Well, every time there's some sort of a point of breakdown, you look up and you see that man there on the right-hand side of the Springbok scrum, Rassie Erasmus. It's all over the place.
Well, the one thing about Johan Erasmus is that he very seldom has a bad game. Springboks penalised again, a little bit of concern for them. And there's good support now. That was Saviozzi that took it on. Italians looking for quick possession from that second phase. Now they want to stretch it. It's a huge tackle in the midfield. But still they hold on to it. The Springboks are well grouped. Mazariol's kick, I think that's gone a little bit too far. And then favourable bounce for the Italians. Huffy Du Toit is the man who's been penalised.
Yeah, it was Huffy Du Toit on his opposite number there, Francesco Mazariol.
No, waiting.
Bit of a difficult choice this for Italy. They're right in front of the uprights, so they won't be thinking about kicking it out over the touchline. There's going to be perhaps a drive from them, and there really has been a good crowd reaction to the Italians' approach to this match. The little tap, the pass on to Giovanelli. And then a second drive from the Italians. That's how close they are.
Ball's underneath. Got a scrum. Here we are.
So again, we see some good tackling. And you see there, the two prop forwards of the Springboks were two of the men right in front.
Well, this is the reason for the penalty. Bit of a shoulder charge there. Might be a little too technical from the refereeing, but this is the penalty then taken. And good defence there. Robbie Kempson's in there. Corne Krieger's just observing matters, and Italians with their own put in. Now they've been under pressure in the scrum, so you never know what they're going to do here. They'd want to get that ball out as quickly as possible and maybe sneak something through the back line.
It's a hold up for injury then to Alessandro Mascardi, the Italian hooker.
Well, it has really been the last, I'd say, 8 to 10 minutes where the Springboks have been just a little off the form that they started with, if you could put it that way.
Matsi gets up to the scrummage quickly because that's what the Italians want. They don't want to have to compete for too long at the scrum. Now a good drive by them, good work from Saviozzi, and another penalty for the Italians.
No. Stay out. Out of it. Just get out.
Johan Erasmus is a very competitive man. Just a little glance towards Gianpiero De Carli, the lucid prop.
After you whistle, after your decision, the number 1 blue punch, maybe caution, and you can reverse. Okay, what do you think?
Number 1?
Number 1.
Yellow card?
No, just caution. I think it's not, just after the whistle, they just pull,
grab?
Yes, and yes. Just
okay.
But maybe you change the number.
Okay, change the penalty. Number 1. You had the penalty here, and he's got involved after the whistle. All right, so you've lost the penalty. Sorry?
You see how quickly De Carli started retreating. He knew what he'd done. There it is. He came driving in, and then a couple of punches that are slugged, and I can tell you now that he's very lucky he hasn't got a yellow card.
Yeah, I don't think it was just a little bit of jersey tugging that. Those are two fully fledged attempts at trying to knock Johan Erasmus's block off.
So the Italians then on the retreat, but South Africa haven't got that ball out. And then an unforced error from the Italians.
That ball almost moved sideways. I'm not sure if it was a total knock-on.
You see the Giovanelli just saying to his men, just keep quiet. Let's play the game. We don't want to get ourselves involved in this rough stuff.
Waiting.
It really is quite tough when you're defending all the time. The ball's just not coming your way. And South Africa relishing the opportunity of playing with ball in hand.
Leave it. Leave it. Hey.
25-year-old Albert van der Berg there. One of the men that went in, along with Selborne Boom, his fellow lock partner. And that's the message you get if you're lying on the wrong side of a ruck.
Stay bound.
Andre Vos just bringing a little bit of variation to the play. And Montgomery coming in. That's good to see the fullback getting himself into close quarters. And it is an easier situation for him. But the South Africans have surrendered possession. And so now have the Italians, but they'll come back for the first knock-on.
Well, that's really a little unfair to these men. So hope that they do get something out the bag. But Dave van Husselen, I think, has had a superb game this evening. Percy Montgomery there proving that he can do just more than what he usually does. Superb stuff here. Unfortunately, that ball coming out, and then somewhere along the line on the other side it was surrendered. Maybe through, looked like the scrum cap of Rassie Erasmus.
Okay, let's go. Let's go.
Let's have a look at Jean-Pierre Dicali's pants there. Full of blood, and that comes from number 7's ear, number 7 being Saviozzi.
Lovely run into the line by Montgomery, and now's another chance for Stefan de Blanche. They're not going to catch him. That was really good play by the fullback, and that's the finish from the Natal Flyer.
Oh, that's what comes from solid scrummaging as well. That platform, nice to work off. Solid scrum. Van Husselen, Montgomery at pace, and we said that a little earlier. They do everything at pace. Stefan de Blanche gets it, and this is slow-mo. It looks like normal speed.
2 tries for Stefan de Blanche, 2 for Dave van Husselen. But what wonderful play that was from Montgomery. And that's the 3rd try in this test series for Stefan de Blanche against the Italians.
Yeah, a lot of criticism has sort of been pointed at Percy Montgomery this season, and I still believe that he's the man for the job. And the sooner he realizes that he is the man for the job, the better. And really, when he's full of confidence and flying like this, there's not much better to see.
100% record for Fafi du Toit. It was took a little time for South Africa to get this 5th try of theirs, but certainly they've had good rhythm, and as Guy Kibble said, better rhythm than they had in the first half of the first test last week. Montgomery beautifully into the line, and the finishing touches from the wing.
Yeah, and beautifully offloaded as well, because that was done at one heck of a pace.
Albert van der Berg going up and unable to secure. This is Rassie Erasmus.
Accidental offside. Leave it. Just leave it.
I sense that there's a little bit of pushing and shoving that's creeping into this game, and no doubt that's coming from frustration on both sides, but more particularly from the Italians. Huge scrum from South Africa. Pick up at the back there by Kechinato.
There it is, just the ball.
All 3 Italian loose forwards have really been sucked in defensive roles, so we've hardly seen any free running from Giovanelli, Saviozzi and Kechinato.
Well, really, this pack of the Italians, certainly in the set piece being the scrum here, are really not up to scratch. And as they hit in, they just nowhere. They're disjointed, they're poorly bound, and they're not going to go anywhere if they continue scrumming like that.
I look for some inventiveness in the back line.
Let it go, 6. Let it go.
That ball really slow in coming out on the Italian side.
Leave it. It's a ruck.
And again, it's question time for Massimo Giovanelli.
For the ruck.
I think what's quite important as well, is that Guy rather is, as we have a look at George Costas in the middle of the picture there, the coach of the Italians. You don't really want to finish the game without any points. So somewhere along the line, the Italians have got to secure something.
maybe they're looking to score points after the game.
So we're right on half-time then, and this might be the last chance for the Italians to open their account in this first half. Mascadi. Wim Visser, the South African who's playing for the Italians today as well, in the centre of that. You'll remember, having played a lot of rugby down here in Natal, for the Natal under 21, the South African under 21 team as well.
Yeah, Wim Visser will know a couple of the lads that he's playing against. Robbie Kempson in picture there, but that turnover ball from the Italians. And we're trying to work out whether we should change his surname to maybe Vizieri or something to that extent, but certainly smacks of South African.
Fluent in Italian, in the lock position for his adopted country. Van Heeslen, South Africa don't want to make any mistakes. There was huge pressure on Du Toit, who's kicked into space. Back foot, Marco Baroni. Chase coming from, that's a big attempted tackle there from Yapi Mulder, and great commitment from the centre. Good to see him back on his feet too as well. He's really had so many problems with injuries. Injury time there's left in this first half. South Africa, and I'm sure that Corne Krige will ask.
Yeah, maybe a little advantage would have been more pleasant there from referee Cole.
So good effort there from Kofi Du Toit, giving South Africa enough time to have another onslaught. He really has kicked well this first half, has Du Toit, not just at goal but out of hand as well. As George Costas just moved out of his position to a more lonely berth closer to the field. South Africa losing possession. And the Italians looking to try and open it up. This is good play by Mora Bergamasco. Well, just out of picture, we saw a few more punches thrown, and we'll just wait to see what Andy Cole has to say.
Well, you're going to see Yapi Mulder getting involved there, and the frustration coming. It's out of picture. You see Yapi's boots in the top corner, but out of frustration, really think the Italians are, the only option is maybe to throw a couple of those little punchies.
So great effort from both teams in the lineouts in this first half, 20 of them, and they've all been successful in terms of the team throwing the ball in. Corne Krige, very committed. Now Robbie Kempson. Erasmus, back he goes again. They certainly were waiting for him on that occasion. Du Toit also having a charge at his opposite number. Certainly outweighs Mazario by some distance. Now the quick take from Stefan de Blanche. Looking for a hat-trick, but unfortunately not from the right spot.
Thought he could pull one off the hat, more than a hat-trick.
Back you go. 10 on the touchdown.
Dave Van Heeslen just waits for the message from his captain, Krige. On to Drotsky. His job is to set up the next phase. Down he goes. Montgomery comes in. Montgomery does well. Montgomery has got through 4 tackles and shown terrific strength and great commitment.
Well, it looked pretty, but really the defense is atrocious, and that's the bottom line. I think the Springboks are playing extremely good rugby, creative in all sense of the word, but let's not fool ourselves. That's not going to happen against the stronger sides of the world, and Springboks haven't had to put up with too much pressure.
Well, not good defensive work at all, but Montgomery will be pleased, and this really can do his confidence the world of good and get him into the game as well. There's no point in him standing at the back there, Guy. If the Italians are not really posing a threat to him, he needs to get up into the back line, and he's showing it and he's doing it.
Well, it is. It takes games like this, and I think it bodes well for him for the rest of the season.
Well, Khafi du Toit has had to take a quick drop when he's just missed as he started his run-up, and that was most unfortunate for the fly half. But no bother really, because the Springboks are going to go into half-time with a very, very good 40-point margin. 6 super tries, and George Costa and the Italians have got some work to do. Stay with me.
So the Springboks picked up where they left off last week. 6 tries in this second half, and 2 of them for David von Hessling. Had a very good start to his international career. And there are gaps in the Italian defence all over the field. Stefan de Blanche taking full use of those, and also some sharp sniping by von Hessling for his second try. With the Italians not offering too much resistance. Percy Montgomery, who the commentators were saying has been under a bit of criticism so far this season, entering the line to good effect there. De Blanche's second. One-way traffic again for the world champions. They're enjoying themselves. They lead the Italians by 40 points to 0 after the first half. We'll get the thoughts of Dick Best after the break. From what's been a pretty miserable tour of South Africa so far. At half-time, they trail the Springboks by 40 points to 0. So not a great deal for the Italians to smile about in that first half, but in the second half, as I think I probably just said, what they would love to do is score a try, get some, cross that enemy line.
Yeah, I think it'll give them a great deal of confidence and morale. They've got to get something out of this tour, and to score a test match try will be quite good for them, but I personally can't see it at the moment.
I mean, looking forward to the World Cup, I suppose the Italians have a small mountain to climb before they get into some kind of shape to be competitive.
Well, I think when they get their first choice halfbacks back in situ, they will be in a better position, because they do win some ball. It's just how effectively they use it at the moment, and what they're doing at the moment is not attracting anybody. You know, they're not interesting any defenders, and they're just, each player is playing individually. There doesn't seem to be any pattern at all.
I mean, they have been ravaged by injury, as you say, so it's not been, they haven't had it all their own way on that front. But as we can see over there in South Africa, it looks like the second half is about to get underway. So let's rejoin our commentators, Guy Kebbell and Gavin Cowley.
Deficit. And I know they'd say, look, we're not worried about the 40 points. Let's see how we can improve this half. But we haven't seen any real strike or any force coming out of the Italian side, and that's a little disappointing. It really is. We haven't got a capacity crowd here, nowhere near it, and I'd be estimating there are probably 25 to 30,000 people in.
So some of the young support here in Durban as Masariol starts the second half. No changes in the two teams. And South Africa looking for a level of urgency. Du Toit, huge punt onto Marco Baroni. He's a big fellow, is Marco Baroni, and unable to control it properly. Little Matzi goes in. And that's an awful pass. That back for it is Christian Stoiker. Montgomery thinks about a quick throw in and then executes it. Foss. That's beautifully taken by Robbie Fleck. He finds some space, and he's electrifying when he gets going. This is great running by the Springboks. Early offload to Stefan de Blanche. And de Blanche just couldn't get that ball in quickly enough as Marco Baroni came across. But there was a level of urgency about this run, Guy.
Yeah, Robbie Fleck, nice stuff. Stefan de Blanche there in picture now. I thought might have been able to do a little more. He's trying to use his pace to get around. Maybe should have checked a bit and gone inside. Anyway, still exciting stuff. Had a good game this evening, Stefan de Blanche.
A little bit of repair work for the communication devices in the flag. I'm sure that Andy Cole says that that thing's come apart, and Dave McHugh wants to make sure that it works.
Technology, and it shows you when you try and use those communication things as cell phones, you've got to distinguish between the two.
Well, repair work done by Andy Cole himself. Despite the fact that he's a dentist, he has some technical expertise as well.
Well, he just filled it in.
Moscardi then. The Italians did well in the lineouts in the first half, taken in by De Carli. The level of commitment from the Italian continues, but will it continue for the whole of this first half? Mazzariol, that's not a good kick from him. And I think South Africa in this second half will want to just stay down in Italian territory and really just bring those forwards into play, lay the foundation again, and then eventually ignite the backs. Ball to the back. The Italians read that quite well. South Africa going in now. Van Hesselen waits for it, and he eventually gets sucked in as well. Erasmus staying on his feet long enough to allow the tight head prop Willie Meyer to come into play. Now on to Stefan de Blanche. Some good defensive work from the Italians. South Africa going wide on this occasion. Beautifully through the hands to Yapi Mulder. He's stronger on his feet. Well, South Africa found a man running into space at pace, and that's one of the great attributes of Yapi Mulder.
Well, that's the captain offloading to Yapi Mulder. Yapi Mulder controlling. Look at him trying to work his way out of that. Eventually being hauled off his feet. And scrum going Springbok way. Yapi Mulder there, hero of the World Cup as well.
Well, big tackling man. He was central to South Africa's defensive role in that World Cup in the midfield.
Second to get steady.
A lot of people will remember that very strong tackle of his on Jonah Lomu in the World Cup final. The man down at the moment is Andre Vos, getting a little bit of attention.
So is it time for the Springboks to continue their dominance up front, maybe with a pushover try?
Well, there's no ask for that. It's taken inside to Corné Krige. Wouldn't he like to score on his debut? But Andre Vos has got his first try for South Africa.
Yeah, nice to see that they didn't have to use the power of the pack to do this. Andre Vos. And lovely smile as he stands up there and just acknowledges the good interplay, because that's all it was. Good work there from the captain as well.
Well, smiles all round from Selborne Boom as well. But there was good play by Corné Krige. Looked for the man inside, and the possession was controlled. Just the one miss from Kgafi de Toy. For the rest, he's been on target. So enjoying his efforts, bearing in mind last year he made his debut against Ireland. There you'll see Van Hesselen playing inside, and Krige then just looking up, picks up his man, but Erasmus was right also on the tail. Perfect kick in that from Mazzariol. The Italians have taken it. Referee wonders if that was a dangerous tackle from Corné Krige. Decides no. Now this is Christian Stoica. Mazzi. Giovanelli. That's good continuity, and if they could have played it wide, they had a lot of extra men, but just hurrying themselves into errors there, and a lot of that is coming from the Springboks, who really, now Albert van der Berg, and Stefan de Blanche is going to get a hat-trick.
Well, Stefan de Blanche's third try, and Gavin, is it still a hat-trick if he doesn't score them 3 in a match? Is a hat-trick, I know, but didn't do it in succession. And I think Albert van der Berg here certainly has good pace. Thought he might have wanted to get a little try in there himself, but nice for the flyer. And really, mistakes are plenty from the Italians, and the Springboks just capitalizing.
6 of the 8 tries belonging to the back line, and 3 of them belonging to that man, Stefan de Blanche, who really is relishing his opportunities here today. And we were just chatting about it at halftime, Guy, that Brayton Paulser on the other wing hasn't, in fact, only touched the ball once. Ollie Leroux has come onto the field as a replacement. So that's the first of perhaps many replacements in the Springbok team in the second half. Nick Mallett looking to utilise the squad system and keep his men going.
Yeah, Ollie Leroux's come on for Robbie Kempson. And I think they like to use Ollie as an impact player, and I think he works well at that.
This for the 7th successful conversion, but it's not going to swing in.
Yeah, I think that little drop goal that he had to take just before half-time sort of maybe might have just kicked him out a bit. Really poor mistake there from Walter Cristofoletto. And then Springbok pressure coming in the form of Van Hustlen, Albert van der Berg. And they're the man to take the ball over the line, Stefan ter Blanche.
South Africa will be pleased with the efforts of Albert van der Berg and Selborne Boom today in the lock position. They've been very secure. Now Brayton Paulser eventually gets it, but swamped in a huge tackle on him from Christian Stoica. Italians penalised for being offside. They want to take it quickly now. Will the Springboks want to quicker trying to wrestle that ball away?
Well, the man to take it quickly is standing up last, Dave van Hustlen. Brayton Paulser hasn't seen much of the ball tonight, and then he sort of walked into a hospital corridor, if you like, and just got put back.
First change for the Italians in the second half, with Lorenzo Trovini coming on for Wim Visser. A disappointment then for the South African, but he's done his bit. Back foot is Rosselli. First touch on that occasion for Trovini. The South Africans penalised for going off their feet at the ruck.
Stay up. Also stay up.
I think Khafi du Toit fell forward. I don't think his intention was to go over there. He knew he was in the wrong. He was just holding his breath and hoping that the referee wouldn't pick it up, but that he did.
Now Mazzariol not getting that kick into touch to Blanche. Switch to Montgomery. This is where he is so electrifying. Now Yapi Mulder. South Africa with a chance. Where's the support play? It comes in the form of Ollie Leroux. Great possession for South Africa. The Italians have regrouped, but they got no one at the back. That's a great little kick from Van Hestlen. The big chase, and back foot is Baroni. Well, all the Italians were standing flat. Dave Van Hestlen read it extremely well.
Yeah, the kick a little flat from him, but it was well read. Montgomery electrifying, and hasn't he been exciting to watch this evening? Yapi Mulder summing up options, and look at that, big Ollie Leroux. Nice stuff, good possession now. And then that little bit of kicking ability shown by Dave Van Hustlen. I don't quite know how to explain it. Maybe he should have let that ball roll all the way, but he didn't know who is behind him.
Zariol kicking that in and taken in by Albert van der Berg. He's been secure from those kick-ins as the man from Worpstad. Khafi du Toit perhaps a little bit predictable on that occasion, but South Africa have held on to the possession. Erasmus, beautifully taken by Yapi Mulder. He really is electrifying when he comes through straight like it. He's a big fellow. Van Hestlen's take. Drotsky was waiting for it. There's the switch. Now they want to get it through their hands quickly. That was an early tackle from Moro Bergamasco, but the Italians had not retreated 10 metres.
We're waiting now.
So another chance. Ollie Leroux with the ball in hand. Wouldn't he like to kick it goal? That's not going to be allowed. What does he do? There's his scrum half. On to Drotsky. Switch to Leroux. That's good position that for the Springboks. Now goes Robbie Fleck through again, and Robbie Fleck has got through between the uprights. It had to come from the Springboks.
good stuff there. Good build-up. Ollie Leroux being involved. Dave van Husselen, Robbie Fleck. Got to make mention of the fact that both Robbie Fleck, Dave van Husselen, and Selborne Boom were at the same school and played on the same side. And I was chatting to Paul Dobson at halftime, and he made mention that the only player that's not in the side right now is one Herschel Gibbs. And we know where he is.
An easy finish for Kgafi du Toit, and South Africa scoring their 9th try. And it came through some very poor tackling from the Italians, but Robbie Fleck showing great determination, and there was some good all-round work from the team. There was the little pass. Now watch Fleck into the virtually an attempted sandwich tackle, and then he just waltzed through eventually. I suppose the big question now is, can the Italians finish this match with at least a point on the board? Well, they'd have to get 3 minimum. Cricker runs into almost like a bus into a brick wall. But the continuity and the rhythm is coming for the South African team. Again, Fleck looking to find some space. Jaapie Mulder staying on his feet long enough. Van Heeselen. And there's space now for Kgafi du Toit. It's a one-on-one situation. He's got de Blanche inside. Stefan de Blanche is going to get his 4th try of the match. And that's a great, great finish. And a good effort that Van Heeselen read it so well.
Well, Stefan de Blanche now goes into the record books as he equals a number of other players. I can't really rattle them off right now, but 4 tries in 1 match. That's sensational stuff. Have a look at this. Great opportunity. Dave van Husselen doing nicely there, reading the opportunity. Kgafi du Toit at pace, realizing that all he has to do is put it into Stefan de Blanche's hands.
Well, once again, the key was the lovely support play of the Springboks, but Van Heeselen looking to go blind with that little pop pass. It was really good effort from him. And this is going to be a first cap for Dion Kaiser, the man from down in Port Elizabeth on the southeastern tip or coast of South Africa, and he's coming on for Brayton Paulse. So a little disappointing for Brayton Paulse. He hasn't had many opportunities, but Dion Kaiser on for his first test.
Well, nothing wrong with Brayton Paulse's performance last week, and I'm certain Dion Kaiser might have liked this opportunity to have arisen in Port Elizabeth. It hasn't. It's happening in Durban, and he couldn't be more happy.
Also a man who's highly rated, who can play in the centre berth as well, but he's a natural winger, is Dion Kaiser. Again, the Springboks have it. They're really now looking to open up and keep that ball in hand. They could be in for a very exciting last 26 minutes. Leroux. Van Heeselen on the inside. That's good running off the ball by Rassie Erasmus. And now Corné Krige and Van Heeselen himself. Well, I don't think the Italians know what's hit them in the second half. Really has been a great start with those 4 tries in 14 minutes.
Yeah, the Italians have come out here for 80 minutes of tackling practice, and we know tackling practices aren't always the best practices to have. So it is rampant. Dion Kaiser, welcome to the Springbok family.
He was the man who Britain last year with the Springboks. We're going to have another replacement as well. This will also be a first test for Brahman Stratton. He was also on that tour to Britain last year, and he's going to make his first start in place of Kgafi du Toit, who's had an excellent match fly half berth. I'm sure he'll be pleased with his efforts.
Well, we might not be the end of Kgafi du Toit this match. We might even see him come back onto the field at full back just to give him a bit of a run there. There was a rumour sort of running that might be the case.
I think it'll be good for Nick Mallett to keep Percy Montgomery on. He really has grown in confidence, and it'll do the fullback the world of good to stay in this match. Pass from Forsts interrupted by Matzi, but there was a knock-on from the Italians.
Oh, Mr. Giovanelli with a bit of a cut to the lip, it looks like. Or is that a plug going up the old snozzle?
It's a little knock on the hooter for Giovanelli.
Not related to Milli Vanelli.
The Springboks really are enjoying this, and one hopes that Nick Mallett feels that he's learned enough from it. Erasmus. So the ball played in the ruck by the Italians will result in this penalty to South Africa. And Bram van Straten will get his first touch of the ball. Probably booted down the touchline.
Yeah, the man in picture there was Horacio Arancio, who I think was placing Giovanelli, and here he comes off. There he is. He had a quick 2-minute stint on the field, and he's a man that's played 32 tests for Italy.
Giovanelli playing his 50th test today, and Bram van Straten his first. That was a good first touch that for the Springbok fly half. Drotsky's had a relatively faultless day in the lineouts today. That was unkindly tapped by the Springbok jumpers.
Yeah, that's not good for your scrum half, and they realise that. Tapping not the best way, especially when you are doing this well. That would be a blemish, as we might call it.
The Mexican wave starts in the stadium, Kings Park. And the crowd really are enjoying this right now. Fleck again finding space. Just look at the pace of the man. And there comes Deon Kaiser. Is he going to get his first try for South Africa?
Well, it's goosebump stuff, really. Deon Kaiser's been on the field, I don't think, for longer than 5 minutes. What a way to enter the fray. Robbie Fleck, sensational. Deon Kaiser in the right place. And that's what you get, a try on debut. Lovely to see. Bram van Straten, well worked. Yapi Mulder, superb. Robbie Fleck, that might have been a little forward to Robbie Fleck, but no one's counting it. And nicely offloaded Deon Kaiser.
He really has got such terrific ball skills, has Deon Kaiser. You'll see there's the offload. Fleck really has been running so incisively today. He's a strong fella, but just look how beautifully Kaiser came at pace off the ball carrier.
Yeah, with respect, I think that pass from Yapi Mulder to Robbie Fleck was a tad forward. However, it was done at pace, and it's not as if it's going to put the question mark on the result of the game. All that it might do is just catapult the Springboks to the century mark, which I don't think they've ever achieved at test level, Gavin.
But very close to it against Wales, of course, in that match at Loftus Versfeld. Bram van Straten has got his first points for the Springboks in test match rugby, and look at how thrilled he is.
Yeah, that match in fact was last year at Loftus Versfeld, and look at that, Yapi Mulder. I'm certain that that was a little forward, but really don't have to be hypercritical of the situation. Deon Kaiser, his moment of glory, lovely to see.
73-0. The score was 74-3 last week, so South Africa already there. They've got the last quarter to play, 20 minutes of this game. And the Italians continue to try and fight gamely. Springboks looking to try and take it away, and the Italians have kept the possession quite well. Springboks on the wrong side of the ruck.
Leave it.
Matzi with a quick take. And then robbed by the Springboks. Oh dear.
No advantage. Holding on.
Well, let off the hook there for the Springboks.
Back you go. Back
Rassie
you go.
Rasmus is thanking his lucky stars.
Quick take by Stefan de Blanche. There was no need to wait for the scrum half on that occasion. Quickly down the line. Fleck again in play. He really has proved to be elusive today. Drotsky poking his head in. Just trying to suck a few more of the Italians into that ruck. Corne Krige takes it on. Van Hesselen, Yapi Mulder giving some space to Rassie Erasmus, and then beautifully fielded by Stefan de Blanche. He'll want to look around for some support. There's Montgomery. Again, the South Africans drive.
Stu holding on. Man on his feet. Number 9 was on his feet.
Well, Andre Vos is the man who's down and just come into picture.
Sorry?
It really looks like he's struggling somewhat.
Well, the man treating him, Dr. Franz Verster, tell me he ran the Comrades Marathon this week, wasn't it?
Last Wednesday, of course, on June the 16th.
And that's
but some concern for Andre Vos, who's had a really busy match today. And it looks like he's got a bit of a problem, either with a calf or the ankle on that left leg of his.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to continue. That looks a little ana, as we say in these parts.
Well, the man who's going to come on then as a replacement is Andre Venter for Andre Vos, and that's really quite disappointing for Andre Vos. But I'll tell you what, with Andre Venter coming on, I don't think the Italians are going to be any happier. He's a big fellow, he's mobile, and he's very highly rated in world rugby. The question is now who goes into the number 8 position in place of Andre Vos. The Italians also have made a replacement, as you would have seen.
Yeah, my feeling is that probably Rassi Rasmus will go to number 8. That's number 12, Luca Martin. And I'm not certain what we're looking at.
Another dimension in the lineouts there too for the Springboks with Andre Venter at the back. But the Italians have managed to secure it. Mazzi. Christian Stoiker now with the drive. It's a big tackle on him. The man that got involved there was Bram van Straten. Shown himself to be a really good defender from the fly half berth. There's the little chip kick and the chase, but that's going to go directly into touch. Springboks penalised for being offside.
Well, you're talking about there's Stoiker. Have a look at the tackle on him. Double tackle being enveloped there by Bram van Straten and Rassi Rasmus. Not the most pleasant way to fall, especially on Rassi Rasmus.
Well, that's penalisable, of course, as well. And that ball, unfortunately, has not gone out on the corner flag. There's Andre Vos just telling the medical doctor just what happened to him on the field. And we can see the other replacements there waiting for their chance. Dave van Hesselen, he's been closely watched in the second half by the Italians.
Straight in on the tackle.
Well, you talk about getting points on the board. If ever there's an opportunity now, they might want to put 3 on. But good gamesmanship here from the Italians.
Well, they're only interested in a minimum of 5, and full credit to them for entering into, if you could term it, the spirit of that, the spirit of the learning process for them. Christian Stoiker, this time a little bit more successful for the Italians.
Yeah, we'll just get ready for the Mexican wave. It's coming to us right now. We're about there. Let's go now.
So the crowd have really enjoyed the fair today, but it's also fair to say that it's a local victory, of course, and it's really been a bit of a hollow one. 73 points to 0, but the Italians keep fighting, despite the fact that they've lost possession.
Number 18. Straight in on the tackle. Number 18. Straight in.
Penalty against Lorenzo Travini. Went in off his feet at the ruck. The Italians really are just lining flat and shallow in defensive mode, so Bram van Straten will probably kick this one down the line.
Yeah, I'm sure their goal would be really to look at the possibility of putting 100 points on the board. Crano Otto, short fella.
Well, I think there's a lot of people shouting at him from the stand, and he, I think, would relish the opportunity of going on. Rassi Rasmus is the man being treated at the moment.
I thought Crano Otto was just standing for the Mexican wave.
He doesn't need to stand. That's Nick Mallett, the coach of the Springboks. Crano Otto is an absolute tower of a man. And what's going through that man's mind. Does he believe that the Springboks have progressed since last week? Well, I think up here in the commentary box we would certainly say so.
Yeah, I think hands down they've progressed. I think they've settled into a game plan. They've, if you can say, they've matured from last week. Remember, last week was the opening encounter for the season, and I'd go as far as saying that they've improved in leaps and bounds. Not that it was a bad performance last week, but I just think that they've made less mistakes.
Things not going well for the Springboks in that line-out for the very first time. Kaiser, quick offload to Montgomery. The Springboks have got extra men. Yapi Mulder. Fleck again. Stefan Tablanche makes a little bit of headway. And the collision course is stopped. The Springboks still have the possession, but no, away come the Italians.
High tackle.
Good work that by Manuel Dalan.
13.
It's Robbie Fleck. And like all good centres, probably say it was he ducked into the tackle.
Well, that's what happens after you've roped a steer, I guess. You get it round the neck and you pull it down into the deck. The Springboks, in terms of possession, have climbed in the second half,
trying to slow the ball
and
down.
they'll be pleased with that possession as well.
We're going to have quick ball, all right? Just tell your players to stay up at the tackle, and tackle it to leave it alone. All right.
Christian Stoiker has taken over the kicking role now that Francesco Mazzariol has left the field.
Yeah, referee Andy Cole quite explicit there about the fact that the Italians shouldn't prevent that ball from coming out slowly. The Springboks have been complaining.
We've seen some really good line-out work from both teams today. But the Italians have not been able to use that platform to any real great effect. Tackle on Oranzio on that occasion. Been so few opportunities for Roselli, but now he's got a bit of work to do. Van Hesslen, Erasmus. That's good play that by Andre Fenter. They're so used to playing together. Montgomery now. Bergamasco coming across field. He's under all sorts of pressure. The Italians can't get to the point of breakdown quickly enough. And as a result of that, it's another turnover for the Springboks. They've got men aplenty on the outside. Van Straten quickly through the hands. This is another chance for Tablanche. Stefan Tablanche, 5 tries for South Africa.
Well, now that is a record. Lovely stuff. Hoping that he would get that record. Very nice to see. And there was an opportunity for him maybe to offload, but took it himself. And no easy work. Good through the hands there. Men aplenty. Quite rightly so. Stefan Tablanche. Deon Kaiser might have had the opportunity himself, but Stefan Tablanche took it.
Well, I think there was the first real indication that the Italians have finally given up the ghost, because Manuel Dalan, that was a really poor effort from him, as Stefan Tablanche thought about offloading inside to Deon Kaiser, and then, well, he's got 5, and isn't that a great day for the winger? South Africa have got 10 minutes left. They're up to 78 at the moment. A successful conversion will be 80. But we keep talking about the statistics here, Guy, and Nick Mallett, the coach, keeps saying he's not interested in that. He's interested in the way that the team is playing.
Well, I think he is interested in it really now, because the team's played well, and I'm sure he'd like to have a record behind the team as well now. So he'd be keeping that in the back of his mind. I think everybody's sitting there saying, well, look, what's the next best thing to happen now? Because that great conversion from Bram van Straten. So it's 80 points, and can they make 100?
Another Springbok replacement. We'll pick that up now as we just see how quickly the ball went through the hands, and then Manuel Dalan, who was unable to tackle Tablanche on his way to that record. replacement on the Springbok side is Charles Marais, who comes on for his second test. And Alan Erasmus Drotsky, commonly known as Naka, is the man who's come off. The Italians also bringing on Gianluca Faliva.
And it looks like Dave van Huslen's coming off, and he no doubt will be replaced by Van der Swanepoel.
So it's only Big Krano Otto left. He's the only man left on the substitutes bench. Maybe his chance will come as well. But the changes being rung by both teams, the result is a foregone conclusion.
You can't say that too soon, though, Gavin.
We'll try and get 80 points in 8 minutes. They'll be doing rather well. And the Italians then in possession. They desperately want to get some points on the board. Bergamasco, he's hardly touched the ball today, playing in the left wing position as a natural flanker. Stoiker's chip kick onto Montgomery. Now here goes Montgomery. Swanepoel. So many new faces on the field, and there's so many Springboks. They've got numbers all over the place. Ollie LaRue. Isn't that a great sight? Down the middle of the field, Andre Venter. Selborne Boom, now Rassie Erasmus. The ball just changing hands so quickly. Erasmus goes flying in. Montgomery to Blanche. How many hands have these balls been passed through in the last minute? Billy Mayer, wouldn't he love to get his first test try? Andre Venter again. Swanepoel, Montgomery, and eventually it goes forward. I don't know how many passes were made then, Guy, but that's probably close to a record as well.
Yeah, it would take a replay to count, because really impossible to tally up. Wonderful stuff, exciting, good control. No panicking. Have a look at that. Rassie Erasmus having his jersey pulled almost off his body. Van der Swanepoel into the thick of things. Percy Montgomery giving what's commonly known as a almost directionless. Yapi Mulder. Oh, he's been a tower of strength there as well, hasn't he? Willie Meyer. And Springboks rampant.
Well, the finishing touches, unfortunately, because Montgomery couldn't take that last pass, could really have put the cherry on the top for the Springboks. Now the Italians looking to run it from the inside their 22. No question that they would have learned a lot from this tour. And one of those would be the message, welcome to the big league. Stoiker. Another run for Montgomery. Back for him, back alongside him is Fleck. And he's got Dion Kaiser on his outside. Again, Fleck looks to go down the midfield. Beautiful pick-up that from Montgomery. Mulder. Onto Corne Krige. Venter. Erasmus, his partner in crime. This is really good handling by the Springboks as well. Mulder into a little bit of space. Yapi Mulder. He's got Venter alongside him. Can Andre Venter get in? Eventually across to what? This is going to be Dion Kaiser's second try of the match.
Well, I think really the impressive stuff there. The rest of the Italian touring party can't believe what is going on, but the impressive side was these the gifted handling ability that has been shown here. Yapi Mulder into space. I would have thought Andre Venter might make it. We all know the pace that he does have. Van der Swanepoel doing extremely well, and Dion Kaiser's second try.
13 tries, the 13th one belonging to that man, Dion Kaiser. And hasn't he enjoyed this debut? The conversion is a formality for Bram van Straten. It's his third one.
Well, Well, you've got to look seriously at the fact that 13 points are required to get to the 100. 5 more minutes plus a bit of injury time. Andre Venter, well, I would have thought he might have made that myself. Werner Swanepoel tripping over his laces, but offloading nicely to Deon Keyser.
What's important in this match too is that the South Africans have shown no degree of selfishness, and they've always given the ball to a man in a better position. Often in a match of this nature, people will be trying to do things on their own as well, trying to tally up their own personal points, but it's been a great team effort. Swanepoel. Montgomery. Mulder. Solid tackling from the Italians in the midfield.
Taken in.
It's a happy day for Gary Teichmann and Henry Honeyball. There's no question. Peter Rousseau,
yeah.
No question about that. And I'm sure that they would have loved to have been out there, but still, what's important is that their replacements have done well, showing that South Africa have got the depth at international level.
Just waiting for number 8. Just waiting for number 8. No, guys, just wait for your locks. Wait for your locks. The locks. Cole, engage.
Last chance now for the Italians. Mazzi at scrum half.
Standing up.
And they forfeited possession. So here we go again. Montgomery this time. He's got terrific pace. Keyser in the midfield. Keyser, is he going to get 3 today? The big chase from Rosselli, but Keyser has got a hat-trick on debut.
Well, how many hat-tricks have we seen today? Is this the second one? Dave van Hussen scored 2 tries, wasn't it? So Deon Keyser coming in with a hat-trick. It's almost unbelievable. Unbelievable. Nice work. Percy Montgomery in there. Look at the pace. It sets up Deon Keyser. Keyser with pace. And who's that chasing in the background? Looks like Charles Marais up there in play. But good attempt there from Fabio Rosselli.
He had a little bit of work to do here, did Keyser. He had to get his angle and his channel right and then go out. Just look at the determination. And Rosselli was catching him somewhat, and then he took off the key issue to make sure that he got over that goal line. 14th try for the Springboks. And what a super debut for the man from Port Elizabeth. Van Straten has had a couple of difficult ones as well, and he's at a 100% record. Will that continue? What a beautiful strike that is from Van Straten.
Well, now is the referee going to allow for a couple of minutes of injury time for the Springboks to potentially get to that century mark?
Well, 96-0 it was against Wales last year, and the Springboks came very, very close. If it wasn't for a knock-on, they might well have cracked it. Christian Stoiker's kick in, and the crowd just willing the Springboks on to get that extra try. Well, in fact, it's got to be a goal. It's got to be a converted try to get to 100. Swanepoel into space. Fleck, Robbie Fleck thinks about offloading. Then he did well. Some good elusive running from him, although it was a bit lateral. The Springboks will just want to regroup, suck the Italians in, but they've got a penalty.
No. Stay out. Hey, come on. Let it go. Leave the ball, let it go.
Well, it's all a little unnecessary. There's no need to start getting nasty at this stage. That's Werner Swanepoel. Let's have a look here. Well, a little bit of the old blow to the whatever you call that part of the gut.
The stadium clock shows 0, and Stefan de Blanche has another chance. Stefan de Blanche on the inside. The Springboks have caught it. Percy Montgomery with a pass inside to give Charles Marais his first test try. How unselfish can you be?
Well, I just really want to actually talk to Charles Marais about that, because he could have put it under the posts. So he's left a little bit of doubt on the conversion. Have a look at this. Stefan de Blanche really has been superb. The pace, unbelievable. And he might have done it himself, but not too greedy. Percy Montgomery, linesman confirming. Percy Montgomery over the line. Charles Murray could have just come a little closer. But anyway, probably the kick easy enough for the talents of Bram van Straten.
He was going to make sure that nothing went wrong there, I promise you. Charles Murray might not get that many opportunities to score test tries. And he says, I'm taking it, I'm not going to try and get any closer. Bram van Straten has kicked so accurately today, and 99-0 it is. We've got -1 on the clock.
Where were the backs in my day that passed us the ball over the line?
I don't know how many games you played in when there was this sort of scoreline.
Never.
Van Straten's got it, and the Springboks have hit a century for the first time. And the referee says that play will continue. Well, my score sheet has really run out of space. I've got 15 tries recorded, and 5 of those, 1/3 of them, go to Stefan de Blanche.
And your writing's quite small as well, I must admit.
Erasmus looking to get in on the act as well. Does well to hold up the possession and not just throw it away. Can the Italians get a point? We've said it a couple of times. The Springboks are not going to allow it as much as possible. They're going to hold that defensive line of theirs. Matzi onto Stoica, onto Luca Martin. We've seen so little of him this match, but he's really had no opportunities. Big tackle on that occasion on Dalan. Now the Italians have got a penalty. Guy, any money on them kicking a goal?
Right now, who knows? The honest truth.
Yeah, that's it, finished. It's finished.
Yeah, they're going to go for post. I'm certain they'll go for post. The referee just said it's finished.
Like a touch, James.
No, they're not.
So there's a bit of question time for the Italians as to what they do. Giovanelli, he's a courageous man. Still they go. They want to try. They don't want to kick.
Stay at green.
Picinato.
Stay at green. Stay at 5.
Matzi, Luca Martin's little chip kick through. This is Montgomery. Referee says that was a knock-on. Is that going to be it? And that is it. 101-0. All sorts of records have been set here today in this absolute massacre by the Springboks of the Italians. There's our man of the match, Stefan de Blanche. He's had an excellent game today, but really it was a team effort from the Springboks. Record-breaking stuff. We're going to go back to the studio for a break, and then we'll be back with the interviews.
So, as the commentators said, they're a massacre for South Africa over Italy. Now, here's what's still to come tonight on Sky Sports. Here on Sky Sports 1 at 8:30, it's the Cricket World Cup Centre, followed at 10:30 by Spanish football with Racing Santander taking on Valladolid. Over on Sky Sports 2 now, it's live golf and day 3 of the US Open. And that's followed at midnight by highlights from today's action on the European Tour with the 3rd day of the Moroccan Open. And on Sky Sports 3 from 6 o'clock, there's live NFL Europe, followed at 9 by live greyhound racing. So, a century of points for South Africa. Stefan de Blanche, an individual record for him. 5 tries on the night. The records tumbled all night at Kings Park in Durban. Deon Kaiser, on his debut, got a hat-trick of tries, pinning back the ears. And he was enjoying his introduction to international rugby. And Bram van Straten got the conversion that got the 100 points. 101 points to 0, the final score at Kings Park. We've got plenty to talk about when we come back with Dick Best.